Mr. Mueller concluded that there was no evidence, not some evidence or insufficient evidence, but no evidence of a conspiracy or a coordination between the Trump campaign, Trump himself, and the Russian government. So once that was settled, that left the Democrats with the so-called obstruction theory. Mr. Mueller refused to charge the president with obstruction. He said he didn't exonerate him, which is not his job as a prosecutor, but he didn't want to charge him, and he laid out all this evidence. The memo itself, the Mueller report, is 400 pages of violations of the constitutional rights of the president, his privacy, Department of Justice guidelines. Mr. Barr could have rightly refused to release any of it, but he didn't think that would be in the interest of the president or the Department of Justice or the public. And it's pretty clear that Mr. Mueller, mostly Mr. Weissman, Andrew Weissman, who was his lead investigator, wrote this in a manner to embarrass the President of the United States, not to make any legal points, because in a traditional non-prosecution, or what they call a declination memo, where you decline to prosecute, which is what this was, you simply write a summary paragraph explaining that there was insufficient evidence. That's not what they did here. They smeared the president for 400 pages. Even in the collusion, conspiracy, coordination area, they didn't have to write all that. They could have concluded there was nothing. No, they wrote 200 pages of nonsensical, idiotic material that was designed to embarrass the president. They did the same thing on the obstruction issue. And I must say, I think Mr. Mueller embarrassed himself terribly. I think he placed the Department of Justice in a very, very bad situation. And I really hope he testifies, because I can't wait to see what people like Jim Jordan or John Ratcliffe are going to do to him on cross-examination. When did you conclude, Mr. Mueller, that there was no collusion, conspiracy, or coordination? When did you tell Mr. Rosenstein that? When did you tell the Attorney General that? I mean, this was an outrage, what Mueller did, and he has really harmed his reputation, not with the mainstream media people who view him as a demigod, but among people who are right-thinking and care about the interest of good government. He's been a disgrace, and his reputation has suffered greatly from this. Mr. Brennan is the primogenitor of this entire plot. All of this started with him insisting that there be an investigation by the FBI into Mr. Trump and his campaign, with no evidence whatsoever. Brennan, enlisted the services of foreign intelligence services to assist in planting evidence that would find its way to the FBI and eventually into applications for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act electronic warrants. Mr. Brennan has become a bit of a nutcase. You can watch him on television. He is insistent. He's belligerent. He really acts like a very guilty man, protesting a bit too much about just about everything. The truth is that any good lawyer looking at these facts could have told you that there was no basis not only for a criminal prosecution, but there was no basis whatsoever for a counterintelligence investigation. There was no proper predicate. There were no facts to sustain a counterintelligence investigation. And the facts that did exist were made up by the U.S. intelligence community, fed to the FBI through foreign sources, and then used to obtain FISA warrants. This is a great scandal, and I think Attorney General Bill Barr is going to get to the bottom of it. And the only way you can do that is with federal grand juries, and I expect those to come soon.